Awana friends, it's Miss Christy. This week is Lunar Week. Lunar Week. So this is exciting. I like the moon and things of the sky and things you can see. So I love that kind of stuff. This is right up my alley. And we are celebrating Earth Day pretty soon too. And so that's pretty close as well. I love the Earth. I live here. But the moon is kind of interesting because I've not been there. I've not been there. Other people have been there. So lunar means moon, and so it's moon night or moon week. So wear something gray this week. I've got a little bit of gray shirt on here. So you can wear something gray, or if you have something related to the moon, you can show me that as well and get some extra points this week, okay? So lunar week is this week. Wear gray or something that deals with the moon, okay? All right, so in our goodie bag this week, I have some neat little things here. These are little cutouts of the moon, and they glow in the dark. They are not sticky. I guess it kind of goes like that. They are not sticky. They are just a piece of paper, but you can put them on your wall at home, and I'll ask you how many you want because I have a lot. There's a stack. So there's a stack of that thick, at least an inch thick. It looks like, I don't know how many are in this unit. But anyway, tell me how many you want and I'll give them to you. You can hang them on your wall. Hang them up on your ceiling or something. If you have some glow-in-the-dark stars in your room, these would go really nicely with that. So I'm going to give you some glow-in-the-dark moon papers for your wall, or you can stick it in a notebook or something if you want to. Anyway, and I'm also going to give you for your treat a ham and cheese croissant sandwich. And I picked the croissant sandwich because it's in the shape of a moon. A croissant is a crescent shape. So I thought that would be fun and also very yummy. You can heat those up or you can just eat them room temperature. Either way is fine, okay? I will keep them refrigerated though and cold until I get them to you. So that's what's going to be in your goodie bag this week. So I hope you enjoy that. All right, let's get to our Bible lesson this week. Our Bible lesson is about the moon. Now, people have looked up in the sky since creation, since God created everything. They've looked up in the night sky and seen the moon. And some people, would say that they see a person, a face in the moon. That's where man in the moon comes from. People look in clouds and see things. And so people have looked at the moon and seen a person. I have never been able to see this person in the moon. I've seen like images and pictures where they point it out and I'm like, I don't think so. But you might see something in the moon like that. The moon has lots of craters and lots of places like dips in the land and little mountainous type regions and some craters like the Grand Canyon. So they have different features on their on the earth or on the moon like we do here on Earth. So you might see different shapes. I don't see that stuff, but you might be able to see it. But people have seen things in the moon. Some people think that the moon looks like cheese, and so they think that the moon looks like a big ball of cheese, and so I think that's interesting too. I can see why they say that, but I don't know. Anyway, so people have loved looking at the moon though for many years, and they like looking at the changes in the moon. The moon changes and has different phases, but why is it there? What is the purpose of the moon? Like, it's up in the sky and we see it, but do you really know why it's there? Well, the Bible tells us a little bit of why it's there and gives us an explanation. But also, I looked it up with our, Google. And so we have lots of scientists who've studied the moon over the years. And this is what they have to say as well. And the Bible also says that there's a purpose to everything. There's a purpose to everything, even the moon. There's a purpose to people. We like to point that out a lot, but there's also a purpose to the moon and everything that's here on the earth or around the earth and in the heavens, because God created everything and he did all that for a reason. So something I found out about the moon actually helps the earth. Now, if you don't know this, the earth wobbles back and forth, kind of like a spinning top. Have you ever watched a spinning top? You spin it and it wobbles back and forth, and you're like, oh, what's going to happen? And then it finally plays out on you. Well, the earth does not play out on you. It keeps wobbling. It wobbles on its axis. So when it's turning, like here's the North and the South Pole, it's wobbling as it's turning. So it's kind of like a weird motion that it does when we rotate around. But the moon helps the Earth's wobble, and that wobbling actually helps to keep our climate or the temperature and the weather pretty stable. Now, sometimes we might have some massive storms come through, we might have this or that happen, but overall, we can pretty much know what's going to happen with the weather with our technology that we have nowadays and the signs that we see in the clouds or with the airflow and different things like that. So the moon actually helps stabilize our climate. So that's interesting. The moon also causes tides. So when we're the part of the earth that's closest to the moon, actually, because of the gravitational pulls, the moon causes, it causes those tides to pull the water and have high tides. And then when the earth wobbles back away from the moon, that part that's away from the moon has a low tide. And again, this happens every single day, and the tides actually happen twice a day. So, and the fishermen and people who are on the water a lot or using the water for different reasons or boating or sailing or whatever they're doing, those tides, they depend on the tides to help them with different aspects of what they're doing. So the moon causes the tides and influences the oceans. It also influences our time, our seasons, and days of the length of our days. And it also influences some people keep a calendar, a lunar calendar. The Jewish people actually keep a lunar calendar. And that's why some of the dates of holidays, of Jewish holidays, they don't fall on a certain particular day. They actually fall on different days. And it's all according to the lunar calendar and the lunar cycles, and when there's a full moon and a new moon and all that. So moon is the way of keeping track of calendars and time as well. The moon is even needed by some animals. It's needed by the animals for migration, so that moon tells them when to go and when to stay. It also helps with navigation of animals as well as people, so we know where we're going. And also, it helps certain animals know when it's time to reproduce or have babies. And so the moon is very important to these things that are happening here on Earth. And sometimes we don't think about these things, but I found them and I thought it was really cool. Some interesting little facts about the moon that I found said that 24 humans have traveled to the moon, have stepped on the moon. Over 105 spacecraft have explored the moon, and we're about getting ready to set foot on. They're trying to get ready to send some people to the moon to actually live and create like a place to live up there. So I don't know how that's going to go, but we'll see. So be watching that on the news. You might find that interesting. The moon is also over 239,000 miles away. That is a long way away, but it still has such a big influence on the things that happen here on Earth. And then I also found that a full moon will affect our brain functions in humans. It affects our brain functions. And I'm like, wow, that's something. But it makes you more energetic. It gives you more energy. It also says that it makes you more extroverted, which means you're wanting to talk to people more when there's a full moon. I don't know who you're talking to at nighttime during a full moon, but it makes you want to talk to people more. So that's interesting. And this is really funny, and this is just a personal story. When I was getting ready to have Avery, it was very close to the full moon. And the nurses, if you talk to any nurse or doctor who works around people having babies, they will tell you that most of the people born are born around the full moon, because if they have them, if they don't go in to have it scheduled or anything, because for some reason the moon has some effect on that, and the moon brings in the pregnant women to have the babies. So they were talking about that when I got to the hospital and got ready to have Avery that time. So it was really interesting. And there were a ton of people there at the hospital when I had Avery. I don't remember how many babies there were, but there were a whole lot. So if you ever get ready to have a baby, you might want to be ready, especially around the full moon when it rolls around, because evidently a lot of people have babies around the full moon. Now, something else I found interesting about the moon information, it gave me a comparison of sizes. And I don't have a green pea here at the house, and I'm really sorry, or else I would show it to you myself. But everybody knows how big of a green pea is. So a green pea, if you can imagine a little green English pea, just one that you would eat, very tiny one, if you put that next to a nickel, then the green pea would be about the size of the moon compared to the size of the earth, which would be the size of the nickel. So if you thought about a nickel being about the size of the earth, a green pea being the size of the moon, that's about how big they are compared to each other. Okay. Let's see. Oh, one more interesting thing I found out about the moon. This is interesting. There are moonquakes. There are earthquakes. We can't call them earthquakes. They're moonquakes. But there are land shaking moonquakes on the moon. They call them moonquakes. They can actually last a lot longer than the earthquakes, because earthquakes only last for usually a few minutes at the most. But these actually happen for up to a half an hour. So for up to 30 minutes, you could be involved in a moonquake. And it also says that they are not as strong as the ones here on Earth. The ones on the moon are actually a lot weaker than the ones here on Earth. So, and those are caused by Earth's gravity. So I thought that was really interesting too. So those are some interesting facts that I found online about the moon, and from our scientists who've studied them all these years. Something about the moon that I found in the Bible, though. Let's talk about what the Bible says about the moon. The Bible says in Psalm 72:5, "They shall fear thee," people will fear God, "as long as the sun and the moon endure throughout all generations." So the sun and the moon are promised to us as long as there is an earth here to have us. And so as long as God has the earth here with us on it. So that's in Psalm 72:5. So we know that the sun and the moon are going to stay until the end of time. On Psalm 104:19, it says that God appointed, it says he, but it means God. God appointed the moon for seasons. So again, the moon is definitely there to tell us the seasons and the days and the calendar and keep track of all that. And that is according to the Bible. The Bible also says in Psalm 136:9 that the moon and the stars rule by night. So those are the lights that were put into the sky to give us light at nighttime. Now, I'm going to read one more passage, and this is where during creation, where God created the moon, and I want to read that to you because it's a little bit longer. It's in Genesis 1, and it's 14 through 19. Okay, so here's the part where the moon is actually made, and God says what it's for. "And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs." So here we see that God has also made the moon for signs. What kind of signs would we have in the moon? Is there going to be a big flashing light sign or something like that? No, actually, it's the eclipses. If you've heard of a lunar eclipse or a solar eclipse, we can't have those things without the moon. And so these are to be signs for us. And the signs are to tell us things, tell us when the Lord's coming back, to tell us when certain things were going to happen. And so God, when He would tell us, when people would ask for, when is this going to happen? What's going to happen here, Lord? And sometimes He would say, look to the heavens for the signs. And this is what He means. Look to the moon, look to the stars, look to the sun, look to the eclipses, okay? Let them be for signs, and let them be for seasons. There we go, for seasons, and for days, and for years. So again, we're using the moon like it's supposed to be used for a calendar. And let them be for lights in the firmament of heaven, to give light upon the earth. So there again, just like it said in that one Psalm verse, it is to give us light at nighttime. And it was so. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule by the day, that one's called the sun, and the lesser light to rule by the night. It definitely is the lesser light because it's not nearly as bright as the sun, is it? So the moon is the lesser light. And He also made the stars. And this was on the fourth day of creation, that He made the sun, the moon, and the stars for these reasons. And in verse 17 it says, and God set them in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And on the evening and the morning were the fourth day. So there you go. That is what the Bible says about the moon. There's actually lots of passages about the moon. You can read those, look those up and find them in the Bible if you want to. Just look up moon in a Bible search on your phone or in the concordance, and you can find lots of passages about the moon and the way that God has used them throughout history. Okay? All right. So that is our lunar lesson for the week. And here's our trivia question. Your trivia question comes from Isaiah 20. Isaiah 20. So in Isaiah, I'm sorry, I wrote down the wrong number. It's not 20. Isaiah 60. It's Isaiah chapter 60. Okay? So Isaiah chapter 60. Sorry about that. It says that Isaiah chapter 60 is talking about the end of times, talking about the end of the world. So here's my question. What will happen to the sun and the moon? And it's a two-parter. What's going to happen to the sun and the moon? Kind of the same thing happens to them. And what will replace them? What happens to the sun and the moon? What will replace them in chapter 60 of Isaiah, the book of Isaiah? So that's your question for the week. Last week's question. Proverbs 25 says, it is the glory of God to conceal or keep secret a thing, but the honor of who to search out a matter? And the answer was to kings to search out a matter. So kings was the answer. Good job if you found that. Several of you did. Next week is our last week of Awana. Can you believe that? Our last week of Awana is next week. Next week is Mother Appreciation Week. Mother Appreciation. So we're going to show some moms some love. We're going to study a couple of moms in the Bible for our lesson. And I'll have a special gift for your mom this week for you to give to her. So hopefully you don't have any excuse for not giving your mom something for Mother's Day. All right? Okay. So Mother Appreciation next week. On May the 9th, that is the very first Sunday in May, we will be celebrating and awarding, giving awards to the Cubbies and the Sparks group. Cubbies and Sparks Awards are Sunday morning, May the 9th. So I hope to see you all there. I will send out a reminder to remind everybody, but that is going to be May the 9th, okay? Also, I have created a list for you to choose from of gift card choices for your Awana store points. And I'm not going to give these out until the picnic, okay? The picnic on May the 15th. But I'm going to be getting with you and ask, so you have a few more weeks to finish up your books if you didn't get them, and you can get some extra points, okay? Our gift card choices, instead of doing store, doing gift cards according to how many points you have, okay? Your choices for the gift cards are the following. Amazon. You can choose a gamer card of your choice. Gamer card includes GameStop, Xbox, or Nintendo. Okay? GameStop, Xbox, or Nintendo. Your third choice is the Haagen-Dazs. Haagen-Dazs. That is a fancy ice cream place over in Providence. So you can do Haagen-Dazs, ice cream place, or the Sonic gift card. And Sonic has fast food as well as drinks and slushes and things like that. So I thought that would be fun. Okay. So, and it'd be good for the summertime. So you can get clothes or objects or different things, toys, whatever on Amazon. So there's a lot of choices for Amazon. Gamer card of your choice, including GameStop, Xbox, or Nintendo game card. The third choice is a Haagen-Dazs, and fourth choice is Sonic. Okay, so those are your 4 choices for your gift cards this time. Y'all have done a really good job, and thank you for staying with me this year. I know it's been kind of hard with COVID, but we have made it through the whole year. It's been 31 weeks. Can you believe that? 31 weeks that we've been in Awana doing this. And I really appreciate all your help. I appreciate your parents' help in helping you with your verses during the week. Thank you for keeping up with your books. Thank you for keeping up with everything, okay? So y'all have a great week. I'll be asking you about your gift card choices soon. And don't forget Cubbies and Sparks. We'll be getting awards on May the 9th on Sunday morning worship, and that is at 10:45 at church, okay? All right, if you can't be there, you can always tune in, and I will get you your rewards at the picnic, okay? All right, I love y'all. I'm praying for you. Y'all have a great week. Thanks. Bye.